So I guess for the best part of a year now, there's been a lot of hype over Bell's new Moto-9 spherical helmet. You know, at first in that it's got a ball and socket design, big on safety features, and shares very little of the, I think only the visor screw is the only carryover apart from its predecessor, which was the Moto-9 Flex. But I think there's also been a little bit of confusion, you know, like with good reason. There's a lot of hype. You know, you see the Eli Tomacs, the Toby Prices, you know, the top freestylers of the world getting out here using this Moto-10. It's their choice of helmet. You know, I think it's the, you know, it's the best helmet on the market. Not cheap. But I think, you know, with all that hype surrounding the Moto-10, I think what's happened is it's, you know, people have overlooked the fact that, you know, Bell also has the Moto-9 Flex. Now it's called the Moto-9S Flex. No one's quite sure what the S is about, but so we thought today we'd just sort of talk a little bit about the differences between the two. You know, you can go and watch our video. We've done a pretty comprehensive review on the Moto-10 spherical, and we're really impressed with the thing. But thought we'd take you through a little bit about the 9, which still sits there as a sub-$1,000 helmet, the next one down next to the 10, you know, in Bell's range. So, you know, from when you look at the sort of, you know, the two shells, very sort of similar sort of shells. You know, a little bit of difference in each of the visors. You know, you can see that you've got the extra protective element here on the 10. And then also the really big differences in terms of their safety features. You know, you've got 1, 2, 3. You've got an EPS, EPO and EPP liner here, whereas you've got the EPS and EPP liner with a ball and socket design on the 10. So both a slip plane technology to mitigate those rotational forces, just achieving things in a different way. So the big differences with the 9 this year, okay? So the 9S, it's gone to a fiberglass shell. So essentially what they've done, they brought it in a $1,200 to $1,300 helmet in the 2010. They said, okay, well, let's keep, you know, this sub $1,000, and in order to do so, some of the literature you've read on it wrongly says that it's a tri-matrix shell. It's not. We've double checked with the guys who actually produce the things. The shell is now a fiberglass shell, but just not any old fiberglass. It's a special pre-impregnated, whereby when it's laid up, you know, the resin is pre-impregnated into it. So that makes sure that, you know, there's not a whole lot of difference between the Carbon 10 and now the fiberglass 9. So that's sort of one key thing. There's been very few other, you know, upgrades, you know, along the way. It shares a lot of the features, you know, of the 10, other than some of that internal way that it manages energy, and comes with all certifications, etc. So, you know, I guess the thing is, like, you know, I think in a lot of ways, you know, in off-road motorcycling in Australia anyway, the people have been conditioned to, you know, buy helmets that are maybe $500, $600. I think that's where, what you'd expect. It's like a boot market, right? It's like the mid-price market is where you get a greater majority of sales. So, but I think at the upper end of the market in terms of price, and now you're talking sort of, I think, $879 through to $950, depending on the graphic you got for the new Moto-9S Flex. So I guess we want to just help you sort of, if you're in the market for one of those more expensive helmets, you appreciate the safety features that they come with, the longevity, you know, and the fact that your helmet's going to wear a lot longer than average. If you appreciate that, how do you choose between the 9 and the 10? So, well, I think the biggest difference between the two, as I alluded to in that review on the 10, is the ventilation. You know, the 10 has got so much ventilation, it's crazy. It forces a lot in, it exhausts a lot out. So, you know, if you're a top-end racer, you know, you're stressing about your goggles getting too much sweat in there. If you're a hard enduro guy, if you ride in hot climates, etc., then, you know, it's going to be pretty hard not to have the 10 on your radar. Because I think that, combined with that, you know, that liner, which actually keeps your face cooler, incredible that the liner becomes a, you know, performance element of the helmet. I think, you know, that's where the 10 is going to appeal to people and should do. But that's not everybody, you know, and I think for a greater majority of people, when you've got pretty much all the features of the 10, biggest differential being the ventilation, not the safety features, you know, but you're saving yourself the best part of sort of $400 to do so. Not a lot of difference in weight. There's a 15th, there's a bugger all in it. You know, if however you're a sort of guy that, you know, wants all those safety features, but you're like, shit, I ride my, you know, I do a bit of adventure riding, I do a lot of high speed sort of trail stuff, I live in a colder climate, I'd kind of probably advise to not go for the 10, to go for the 9. I think you get, you know, a few new colorways, including a Tropical Fever. It's a pretty rad one, like by Tiger Designs, that's just come out with a 9S Flex. So, you know, not a helmet to be lost in the shadows. Like, you know, either way, whether you go for the 10 or the 9, you absolutely won't be disappointed.